Can Spider-Man save Martin Lee and Aunt May from the grasp of the inner demons? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 59 and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue actually works very hard trying to get across the theme of sin. We begin with Martin Lee saying that despite what everyone may think about his story, a good man corrupted by a dark side, the truth is Martin Lee always was kind of a bad guy, a slave trader, a human trafficker who only took the name Martin Lee in an attempt to hide and who only created the Feast shelter to try and assuage his own guilt over the evil he had done. Despite his many evil actions and past sins, though, Aunt May continues to see the good in him and feels that he shouldn't have to die here and now. Though now perhaps that Aunt May has a better understanding of who Martin Lee and Mr. Negative is, it makes more sense as to why he built the Feast shelter with so many interesting little crawl spaces to make escape easier. Now, as the rest of the issue plays out, Spider-Man beats on the inner demons while his inner monologue yet again drifts to the idea of Harry. Peter feels hurt, he feels confused, and honestly he doesn't know what to do. This action too is also juxtaposed with Norman going to Liz Allen and Normie, Harry's wife and son, to try and get them to actually see Harry again now. The only problem is that he doesn't look like himself, he looks like Kindred, and the truth is probably more shattering than any illusion ever could be. Peter once again too in his mind talks about cutting Harry and the Osborns out of his life completely, being done with it, all of the suffering, all the heartbreak, and the universe continuing to take from him over and over again. But wouldn't you know it, in his moment of selfishness, in his moment of perhaps enjoying beating down these inner demons a little too much, he doesn't notice that Aunt May got snatched by one of them. Yet another moment of instant karma wherein Spider-Man is reminded that no matter how bad he feels when he falls into these depressive little self-hating cycles, it's only the people around him who suffer. It's a classic superhero-supervillain standoff that we've seen a million times before. Don't move or the old lady gets it, only this time with a twist, the true hero actually ends up being Martin Lee himself. He agrees to actively give himself up to the inner demons and to become Mr. Negative once again, so long as Aunt May and the Feast shelter aren't hurt. After all, Aunt May has done better with this place than he could ever have done, and Martin Lee can take solace in knowing that even if he may lose himself to Mr. Negative again, the Feast shelter will live on, and as such there will be one little last shred of good in him that can never truly be extinguished. Martin Lee wasn't ready to do it before, but after spending so much time with Aunt May and actually being treated like a human being again, he decides that he can't run from his sins anymore. He has to meet them head on. Again, this all kinda tying in perfectly to everything Peter is feeling right now. He can't run from Harry no matter how much he might want to. And thus Mr. Negative is born again. Spider-Man refuses to let him just walk free after everything that's happened, but at the end of the day, Spider-Man won't get to make that call as Mayor Kingpin and the cops show up to collect the inner demons. Of course, as we saw in the previous issue, Mr. Negative and the inner demons had already cut a deal with Kingpin for the Lifeline tablet, and this isn't so much an arrest as it is just letting them escape. Spider-Man tries to fight Kingpin, but it's hard to fight City Hall, as they say, especially when Wilson threatens all of the Feast shelter to bury them under so much red tape and bureaucracy Aunt May would never get out of it. So yeah, the threat is ended, the day is saved, but it's a very bittersweet victory indeed. Peter shows up again to comfort Aunt May, who begins to wonder why she seems to be so cursed and why so much bad stuff keeps befalling the Feast shelter. Peter tries to give her a way out, saying that she doesn't have to do this and that the next time someone like Martin Lee shows up, she should call the cops instead of trying to reform him. But as Aunt May says, that's just not in her character, or in his for that matter, because the second you stop trying to save people, well, you might as well just give up completely. In fact, her words dovetail quite nicely with what's currently going on with Norman Osborn. He has himself a little heart-to-heart with his grandson Normie, who naturally has every reason in the world to hate his goblin grandpa. Despite all of that, the two actually end up sharing a very warm little heart-to-heart wherein Norman says despite everything, despite all the failings of all the adults in Normie's life, they do actually love him and do actually want him to overcome the Osborn family curse and the ever-looming legacy of the Green Goblin. And you know what? Spider-Man was watching this conversation and didn't intervene, showing that maybe Peter is willing to let Norman actually get a little leeway with his supposed second lease on life. Now what about Kingpin and Mr. Negative? Well, back at the mayor's office, the Inner Demons make good on their promise and give Fisk what he was looking for. You see, as Lee explains, there's actually two tablets out there, one of life and one of death. A positive and a negative, if you will, and only when used together in conjunction do they have the actual power of resurrection. Unfortunately, it's only good one time. Fisk only needs one shot to bring back his beloved Vanessa, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to do so. Furthermore, he continues to hire Mr. Negative for more work to track down the Tablet of Life that Boomerang and Spider-Man had taken from him. Oh, but it's not just Negative he's hired for this job. Wilson Fisk has brought together the biggest gang lords in all of New York City, from Hammerhead to Silvermane to Black Mariah to Crime Master and everyone in between. Bring him the tablet and you get a free pass from the mayor's office. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 59, everybody, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed all the work with theming that Spencer did throughout this issue. We get to see an angry, distraught Spider-Man on the edge of just giving it up, but Spider-Man can never give it up. Like Aunt May said, it's in his character to try and help people, to try and save people. Peter can't let anyone fall by the wayside, even someone who's done so much damage to his life like Harry Osborn, because, well, Peter can never look the other way. Looking the other way the first time is what got Uncle Ben killed. Heck, I end up walking away from this story too with a better respect for Martin Lee. There's a real tragedy here to his character and his friendship with Aunt May that is so doomed. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one a 9 out of 10. This was actually a really good finale to this story. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.